Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about vitamin D and what it is, what it does for your body, how you get it, and some recommendations I have about it. So vitamin D is a key nutrient our body needs. It affects the health of our musculoskeletal system, so like muscle contractions, bones, skeleton, and it plays a key role in so many myriad of things. Your mental health, it's linked with deficiencies, are linked with depression, immune function, all sorts of stuff. And it's crazy rampant that I see deficiencies in vitamin D. So there's all sorts of things we can do with adjustments and physiotherapies and exercises. But if you're deficient in vitamin D, it might not get better. The other thing is we make vitamin D, humans, when we are exposed to sunshine. And so it's often thought that because we have the capacity to synthesize it ourselves, that we should have adequate supplies. Not the case, right? People wear sunscreen. You need 15 minutes of sunshine on your arms and legs and like face per day to make adequate amounts. So I for sure don't get that. I'm guessing you don't either. So anybody who lives in like the northern half of the United States, it's virtually impossible to get enough sunshine. So there's that, right? When I've had vitamin C or vitamin D stores tested on my patients, almost always people are deficient unless they're already supplementing with pretty significant doses. So I'll use myself as an example. Typically when you run labs, you want it to be like 30 to 90 for vitamin D. And if you're right over that 30, then the lab will often say that you have adequate stores. If you're over 90, it's too high, you gotta back off. For me, I was supplementing with 2,500 to 2,500 to 5,000 IUs vitamin D per day, which is kind of a lot. The recommended daily allowance is 400 IUs. So I was taking, like 4 times that. And when I had labs done with my GP, I asked her to run my vitamin D just to make sure that I wasn't in that 90 and over. Y'all, I was at 33, like just barely above rickets. Do you know what rickets is? It's a disease that sailors and people used to get from vitamin D deficiencies, where they get bendy, squishy bones. It's really bad. And it's not commonly diagnosed anymore because you get a baseline of vitamin D fortified in so many different foods. But baseline, like to not have bendy bones recommendations versus optimal levels of vitamin D so that you have good bone health, muscle health, brain health, immune function is much higher. So bottom line is that most people need to supplement with vitamin D. So you want to have D3 or cholecalciferol. For me, I like vitamin D drops because I don't love taking pills. And if I can just put some drops of vitamin D under my tongue, it's a better pleasant experience for me. So this is a D that I use. You'll see that it says D3. Okay, and on the back, if you read it, it says D3, yeah, you probably can't read that, but anyway, it says D3 cholecalciferol. Sometimes it will have things included in it that help you absorb it, like K2, which is another vitamin that we can self-synthesize most of the time, and that might help with absorption. So you might see that in there. There's different forms of D3 that might be more absorbable, but always look for that cholecalciferol. Make sure that it's D3. You can get it in pills, and I've seen it in people who are chronic migraine patients or people who have a diagnosed depressive illness, pain illness, musculoskeletal illness. They might put you on super crazy high doses of vitamin D, like 25,000 IU or 100,000 IU for a week or a month to build up your baseline stores and then start dialing it back. So it's hard for me to make a recommendation without knowing what your baseline is, right? Like, are you super deficient? Are you a 5? Are you a 10? Are you a 30? Because it's gonna matter. So what I recommend is getting your vitamin D checked. Make sure that you're getting sunshine on your body when you can, and almost nobody can go wrong with getting like 2,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D a day. But every once in a while, I like to take, sorry, I got a notification here. Every once in a while, I like to just get my labs checked to see where I'm at. And so sometimes that can be as simple as like a pinprick and like dropping a little bit of blood on a thing, sending it off to a lab and getting your baseline there. So I'm going to drop some resources down in the comments for ways that you can check your vitamin D lab if you don't have an MD who will order the test for you, or you just would rather do it on your own and your own convenience, and a link with the vitamin D that I like to use. So there's a little info on vitamin D for you.